Yeah, so let's talk about more of the mental abuse I went through growing up. Um, let's start from like in school. Um, there was, well, it all started. You see, I was doing quite well, doing quite fine, I guess, all things considered, in public school. You know, the education really sucked, but um, I still had problems uh, at 7 years old with bullies in school and in my neighborhood and all this stuff. And this was like when I was like in the second grade. I would still find bullies. There were still bullies, you know, at public school where I went. And I remember many times having to run away from them and hide to get away from them. My way home from school. I remember being in the park and this one girl, I'm trying to remember her name because I know her name, but it slips me at the moment. But she, oh my gosh, she was the worst. She would come up and throw dirt. Well, she did one time. Came up and threw dirt in my eyes in the park. Where I couldn't even see. I had to like find my way to the water fountain to wash my eyes out, and they were filled with dirt, sand from the ground. That I remember very well. Then there was but in school, it was mostly Michael Boehm, Dennis Testa. Those two were the worst. And then there was, and then the lesser ones were like Grace and Irene, and there were females and a couple males. I don't remember all their names, but the worst ones I remember. And then always being called gay and faggot and all this other stuff in school. It was constant. It was constant for years. It was after I left the public school. Well, my mother finally decided she wanted to put me in private school, so in parochial school, St. Bernadette. And so the school said, or somebody said, or the school said that I would have to repeat the second grade in public school if I wanted, which I could never understand. And I asked my mother why she did that to me, and she's never given me an answer. You know, and I asked her, well, why didn't you put me in the second grade in the parochial school instead of repeating the same grade in public school? You see, because when I got into private school, they already knew how to multiply. Yeah, multiplication tables. I didn't even know. We didn't even start multiplication in the second grade. They already were doing multiplication tables. I didn't know. And they teased me. That was like the first thing I remember people teasing me about. Chuck, you know what 0 times 0 is? Do you know what 0 times 1 is? Do you know what 0 times 7 is, Chuck? Do you know what 0 times... I didn't know. It was 0. But I didn't know. I didn't know multiplication at all. And so I was teased relentlessly being the new kid once I got into the third grade in parochial school. And they put me in the front of the class. They separated me from the rest of the class and put me at a table in front of the classroom. So so that made it even worse, because she had separated me, making me stand out even more. And I mean, kids are just, I mean, they're the little monsters to start out with. And if they never change, they stay that way for the rest of their lives. They're just little monsters for the rest of their lives. But you know, the bullying that went on was really bad, and I mean, it just it pretty much ruined my school life. I mean, I hated going to school. I mean, I hated it with a passion after a while. I mean, to where, like during the summer, I mean, I would just be in tears having to go back to school again. It was really that bad because of all the bullying. And so then, of course, you know, around, you know, like 9 or so or whatever, I mean, and then you quit the accordion. Then it was from my family constantly too. The mental abuse from them was just unbelievable. So I was dealing with mental abuse at school, being picked on and bullied, and then I'd have to go home to the same thing, being bullied and picked on by my own family. So I didn't get any relief from that for years. Even my own mother, I mean, I was standing there one day over at my aunt's house, her sister's house, and my Aunt Elaine, and she was standing there, and she goes, if any of my kids are ever go to jail, do drugs, or are gay, I'll disown them. She said that right in front of me to my aunt. And so, you know, that really affected me. It all affected me. The mental abuse, never mind the physical abuse from my parents, but the, you know, using a leather strap or whatever it was, they used to, you know, beat the shit out of me with it. So especially my mother, and her saying, "Oh well, I'm not Chuck. Always remember, I'm your mother. I'm not your best friend." She would say that. "I'm your mother. I'm not your best friend. I'm not your friend," or whatever. And I was just like, whoa, you're my mother and you're not my friend? Well, who do I go to if I need a friend then? Yeah, I had no friends. I had no friends to go to at all growing up. You know, and because I was just so withdrawn, and you know, I never had friends growing up. You know, and I didn't want to bring them back to my house because it was just a constant state of mental abuse there. And of course, school, you know, was just constantly being picked on and bullied and everything. And it was humiliating to me in school, so I didn't make any friends there. And I had no friends growing up, none at all. And so even in Scouts, I mean, I'd go to the meetings and then I would leave and I would never see those people again. You know, so it was really hard to maintain any kind of friendship with those people. And, you know, so, you know, I just grew up not having friends. My brother and sister had lots of friends. I had no friends at all. My brother and sister had lots of friends they knew from the music studio. And so I didn't even make any friends there, you know. I was very much an introvert when I was younger, because of all the mental abuse. And so, you know, I didn't really associate with people very much. But yeah, and then, oh, well, you quit playing the accordion. You quit playing the accordion. And even now, my brother is still, you ruined your life, Chuck. You ruined your life. I ruined my life. Yeah, see, I mean, it's just more mental abuse, you know, from my family just like, you know, the bullies and being picked on by the bullies and the people in school. And one day I snapped, and when I snapped on Dennis Testa, and I beat the living shit out of him. Yeah, I lost it. I was standing underneath the overhang waiting for my dad or somebody to come pick me up from school, and he started harassing me and bullying me again. And instead of running or going away, I snapped, and I turned and started just wailing on him until he fell to the ground, and I kept on wailing on him with my fists. Yeah. I didn't get in much trouble for it, though, because they all knew how bad he was picking on me. They knew. They all knew.